Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 9:39 a.m. News and views on Salam Media, and online we have a chairperson of the South African Muslim Network, and that, of course, is Dr. Faisel Suliman, about the upcoming National Mosque Open Days, a Heritage Day initiative. Dr. Faisel Suliman, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
This National Mosque Open Day is an annual event, is it not? And for how many years has it been running?
Yes, it is. Probably this would be, it's about a sixth year. Of course, there was a hiatus during the two years of COVID and lockdown, but it started about 5 or 6 years ago.
Let's talk about the intent of the Open Day and how do both sides, the Muslim Ummah and, of course, our non-Muslim friends, family, and neighbors, because some of us do have non-Muslim family as well, be that as it may, how do they then, view this Open Day, and are they willing to actually participate?
Absolutely. In our experience over the first 3 years before COVID, the response was phenomenal. If I use, for example, Durban North, the very people who had objected, and this is a common occurrence when people apply for rezoning for a mosque in previously white suburbs, for example, that there's more often than not a huge objection.
Oops. Connectivity seems to be a problem this morning, network issues. And all I can say is we blame it onto the lords of darkness. You know who I'm talking about, none other than Eskom. Okay, there you go. I've got you back on air.
Okay. Yeah, so the people who had objected, for example, at Durban North, and the same thing we found in Queensborough, and I'm sure others would have had the same experience, that these people, when they came in and they first of all got it's the mosque tour, the wudu demonstration, in some places watching of the salah is one part. The other is meeting Muslims that on a social, non-formal occasion, and just seeing Muslims as not as the other, but it's just as human beings with the same concerns and worries and thoughts that you may have, and clearly religion is an important part for us, for everybody. But we just found the feedback phenomenal. It was not intended as a day of conversion and proselytizing, but alhamdulillah, I must say, over the years, if I remember more, maybe at least 80 or more people have taken the Shahada on this day. So that's like an added bonus, and what a wonderful bonus to have. But the main thing has been breaking down some of the stereotypes, getting people who are residents around the mosque to come and visit and have a look inside and ask questions. It's Islam 101. We did not intend it for a day for talking politics, especially not religious politics, not a day for telling people, how many mistakes there are in the Bible, etc., and how wrong their religion. It's about Islam 101, meet and greet, get to know your Muslim neighbors. And in Durban North, it set the scene, or it set the foundation for a cooperation that came through during the looting and the flooding. So the relationships that were built there came to the fore during the mosque became the nerve center of coordination of security, and during the looting and looting and flooding. The mosque became the center, of giving people water through the borehole, arranging milk, bread, etc., etc. The distributions took place through the mosque. The very people who objected were standing in queues to collect this, and it builds very strong relationships. And that has been the response in many of the masajid that have held it. So the intent was that break down barriers, foster better relationships, introduce Islam 101. Those who have more questions, those who want to know more, then you refer them on whether to SAMNET, and we find the appropriate person to speak to them. Like I said, over the years, 80, maybe more, Muslims actually were so impressed that they took the Shahada. So, that's essentially had been the intent.
Subhanallah for that. Two things that I want to pick up on again is you spoke about the mosques being the nerve centers during the time of the looting and the floodings. We had a similar situation in the suburb that I live in. We had water issues, major water issues a little while ago. And every time this issue comes up, it's only the Muslim community, the Muslim people living in the area that, we have these WhatsApp groups, and our non-Muslim neighbors and people in the community are on those WhatsApp groups as well. And it's only the Muslim people who open their homes and their gardens and the masjid as well to say, whoever needs water, this is my address, give me a call, or you can go directly to the mosque and you can help yourself to water, because the mosque was so proactive. They ran a tap right outside of the gates, so that it isn't inconvenient for the people to still wait for the gates to be open, so they could fill up from outside of the mosque. And we had the most amazing responses from the non-Muslim communities. They kind of said on those WhatsApp groups that these were the people we didn't want to welcome into our communities. We took and we objected for a mosque to be built in the community, and these are the very people that have come to our assistance in our time of need. And for me, that said it all. It was absolutely awesome. They're now viewing us in a totally different light.
Oh, I know, Julie. During the looting, John Stiernazen, the leader of the DA, and Rory McPherson, the councillor then for the Durban North, came to visit. We told him not to politic, but because obviously the looting was carrying on all of this. And I reminded them that they were the very people who had objected and were behind the objections to the mosque. And of course, being politicians, they sort of try to, play that down. But that's exactly what the situation was. I think, clearly from a religious perspective, the serving humanity is something that is I think we don't have to discuss how much it is stressed in both the Quran and the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. So that is taken for granted. It's our duty. The thing, though, is we shouldn't be waiting for these crises to break down those barriers. Looting and flooding, and as you say, many of the masjid have boreholes, and we know water issues. But let's not wait for that. We need to be using this opportunity, and it doesn't only have to be on Heritage Day. The thought behind this was other communities have cultural days, singing, dancing, dressing up in their traditional clothing, etc. As a Muslim community, we weren't really doing any of that, and we thought, what a way to use this day, to do soft hour, and this is exactly what what a lot of this is all about, soft hour. So let's not wait for those days. Not only restrict this to 1 day a year. It's nice because it's a national day. It's a public holiday. It's easier for us to market and to promote it on this day. But I mean, it's been so successfully done overseas, especially post 9/11. That we should be looking at doing this, every quarter if there's a need, or at least biannually. But clearly, on this day, it lends itself to the theme of heritage and culture, and in our case, religion as well. And people have been very innovative. People have brought in henna tasting, food tasting, scarf tying as an attraction to people and make it a little bit more. And that has proved to be quite successful. Blood pressure testing, free blood pressure, free sugar testing, that kind of thing as an attraction over and above the meet and greet, the snacks, the masjid tour, the wudu demonstrations, and just, having a chat and building those bridges. So that is, and this year we have a theme, which I hope listeners and viewers will, and this is each one bring one, and that is each Muslim bring one person of another faith group to the masjid on Heritage Day. You can, SAMNET website has a list of the masajid, and some masjids are not going 2 to 4, some are going 10 to 2. Some people want to demonstrate the salah. Whatever works for them is fine. And the idea is your school principal, your sports club, the local police person, fire department. More importantly, people who are in your class with schools, and work colleagues. That's a very important one. Julie, we want, and this has been experience in the, where I served on school governing bodies and this and that, that we really do assume something, that they know about Ramadan, and they know, yes, we fast. What we take for granted is perhaps that they think they know a little bit about our rules. So now we want Ramadan time to get early off, Eid day to be off, given off work, our teachers to understand our children go to madrasa in the afternoons. But if we haven't sat down and explained this to them, and we haven't invited them to the masjid to see what it's all about, to explain to them all of this, and how do we expect them then to understand, the subtleties and the idiosyncrasies of our religious belief? We want water jugs and taps in our toilets in these Model C schools. This is the chance where they get to ask these questions, and they get to meet Muslims and see us as normal human beings, and address all of these questions, because I know from my own experience and my own children in these schools that we think these principles know, and they don't. They really don't. They just know, yeah, the Muslims are coming to ask for Ramadan, they're fasting, yeah, but they want off. The kids don't want to come to sports in the afternoon because they go somewhere, they go to religious class. And they've been told madrasas are the breeding grounds of fundamentalism, and they have all these images in their heads. One person told after one of the masjids said to us, we thought you worship a black box in Mecca. Simple things, but we take things for granted that they don't. And I don't even want to go talk about stereotyping, that they're accustomed to see news, TV series, movies, novels, all the negative stuff. And this is another opportunity to talk to that. So really, each one bring one is our theme this year. And people who are near these masjids, get involved, please. Help them to print pamphlets to them, to give it out locally on the weekend before. And more importantly, talk about it and bring one person of another faith group. I remember one person once, and this is something we can talk about, told me, I don't like the term non-Muslim. I'm not a non-something. Like you are not a non-Christian. You said, don't call me a non-Muslim. Call me a Christian. Call me something else, another faith group. But I'm not a non-entity. I'm something. So I've learned then not to use the word non-Muslim. So I don't use the word non-Muslim anymore. People, I'm not a non-Christian. I'm not a non-Hindu. I'm a Muslim.
Makes sense.
So,
it makes perfectly good
so
sense.
I tried not to use the word non-Muslim anymore, because I thought that was a good point. People are not non-somethings. So people of other faith groups, even atheists, agnostics, bring them. Let them just, if nothing else, let them just understand Islam 101.
Faisal, is this happening only in KZN, or is this a national initiative?
Oh,
because
no, it's a national initiative. Why?
Pardon?
Because some religious groups are against it. Some of our ulama have literally frightened some of the masajid and the trustees into not doing it. And I've got, without naming them, quite a few examples of people who did it in the past and now have been scared by certain ulama groupings that's not permissible, that you can't have non-Muslims in the masajid. The Prophet saw everybody, his masjid was his office, was his war room, was everything. Anyway. Yes. And secondly, they're seeing this as promoting interfaith, and at the moment,
that's a huge issue. We seem to have lost our guest there. So let's just see if we can get him back on again. I don't think so. Let's give it. All right, he's coming back on again. I hope.
Yeah. So, I'm still there.
All right.
So many of the ulama have literally scared trustees and stopped people who did it before, and those who wanted to come on board. I get them. I get the personal notes. I don't want to name names right now, but people message me privately that the trustees have changed their mind. They worried about majlis and this Maulana and that Maulana giving them beans, and this Darul Uloom saying it's not permissible. So that has sadly put a damper on the number of masajid. The highest we reached was, I think, a year or two before COVID. It went to up to about 80 masjids. I think this year we're down to. In Alhamdulillah, the one good news is that there's through the Imam Development Program, is now also going through 9 African countries have started. Uh, um, uh,
Subhanallah.
so inshallah, it'll grow in these other African countries. But we're down to about 40 or 45 in South Africa for this year.
All the very best. I think it's an amazing initiative, and may it grow from strength to strength. And as you
Inshallah.
say, let's not wait for Heritage Day. Let's try and do it every quarter. And really, it's not non-Muslims. I should stop
Other
using
faith
that
groups.
word. Other
Other
faith
faith groups.
groups shouldn't see this as, some sort of a soft tactic to get them to embrace Islam, but rather just for them to understand what Islam is all about. And maybe just the way they interact with us going forward would also change. Their view of us would also change, inshallah. So anything else you'd like to share with us before we let you go this morning, Faisal?
No, thank you so much. Each one bring one. Bring your school principal,
Absolutely.
your work, your colleagues, from your sports club, your paddle club, whatever it is. Bring a person of another faith group.
And is this a mixed gathering? Are our female neighbors of other faith
Yes.
groups also allowed to attend?
Yeah, yes, that's the whole point. I mean, if you tell people, you know what, it's men only, you might as well not have it.
Okay.
We are not talking to Muslims here. This is not, Alhamdulillah, the better, more Muslims that come in, it lends support and it makes it look better. But the aim here is for non-Muslims. And if you said to them, we're only allowing men or women, look, most people, we've never had a case where someone has come in a mini skirt or a low cut, low cut dress. They understand they're coming to a mosque, they come reasonably well covered and dressed. And you can make provision for that. You can have a bias there if you really, someone did pitch up. And people understanding you're in a mosque, but most people who come to a mosque know they're going to a mosque. They're not going to come drunk or in a mini skirt or something like that.
What about our Muslims? Are they allowed to be at the mosques on that day? Is that a controversial
Absolutely.
question?
No, not for those masjids that are having the open day. It may be
Right.
controversial for others who are opposed to it,
Yeah.
but absolutely. I mean, how do you say to people we're allowing non-Muslim women but non-Muslim women to come?
Right. Right.
Come,
Okay.
come with their
Alhamdulillah.
husbands. Someone needs to talk to the ladies. Someone needs to show them, talk to them even about niqab, about hijab, all of those things. That it's
Okay.
not forced, that it's a choice, etc.
Okay, let's hope and pray that inshallah this rolls out nationally, that people see the merit of these open days for other faith groups to understand and see what our religion is all about, inshallah, and just have new respect for us as Muslims, because that's what it's all
Absolutely,
about, is it not? Anyway,
absolutely.
always, always a pleasure talking with you, Faisal. Till the next time, as always, you go well. Keep us in your du'as, inshallah. Assalamu
Thank you,
alaikum.
thank you, Wa alaikum assalam. I'm into all your du'as.
It is exactly 8:58. We've got 2 minutes to wrap up. I just want to do a very quick read. It's an important issue that has actually come up. People would view it very differently. We tried to get a guest to talk about this, to unpack it for us, but we were not very successful this morning. So let me do this read before I wrap up for the morning. And this was a report filed by Al Jazeera. So this is how it starts. Egyptians divided over recent niqab ban at schools. Egyptians have spoken with Al Jazeera about the recent government decision to prohibit students from wearing niqab. The Egyptian government has banned female students from wearing the niqab, a face covering veil, at schools, according to state owned media. Education Minister Rida Hehasi's statement, released on Monday and quoted by the government owned Ahram newspaper, said students have an optional right to choose if they will cover their hair at school. The statement, however, added that the hair covering cannot cover the face. So, from what I read here, my understanding is that hijab is permissible, but not niqab, in Egyptian schools. The report goes on to state that any form of hair covering that contravenes the condition of the face being visible is not acceptable. And the hair covering should be in the color chosen by the ministry and a local education directorate. The decision will be enforced starting from the academic year on September the 30th and continue until June the 8th, 2024. Egyptians who have spoken with Al Jazeera on the condition of anonymity expressed mixed opinions over the ban. A 33-year-old marketing manager from Alexandria, said he is against the niqab being worn at schools because it obscures what should be a transparent educational process. He goes on to say, and I quote, anything that obscures teachers from properly reading the students' body language and facial expression to be able to help them or show necessary attention should not be allowed at schools, unquote. has also agreed with the government's ban, said the implementation of this decision is necessary from a security perspective. I quote, school authorities should be able to identify people going in and out of schools and that way ensure everyone's safety. He went on to say that niqab wearing students are largely alienated in schools, be they mixed or segregated ones. On the other hand, he believes the ban might lead to some parents to transfer their children from mixed schools to female-only schools. According to the ministerial statement, a student should make the decision to cover her hair based on her own personal desire without any pressure or force from any person or any other entity other than the parents, in an apparent reference to local religious groups and movements. The statement said parents should be informed of their daughter's choice and added that authorities will verify the guardian's knowledge of the school's choice over the issue. End of statement. And that brings us to the end of the show this morning. It's just gone 1 minute after 10 o'clock. Thank you indeed for your company. Hope you've enjoyed the interviews lined up this morning. We do apologize for the network problems, but of course, as usual, it is the issue regarding Eskom and the stage 6 load shedding that we are sadly experiencing right now. A shout out to our producers, and that's you, Nasri Naidu, content producer, and Abdul Salam, our controller, technical producer. I am signing off now till Monday morning at 8 o'clock. Take care on the road. It is still cold, so still make sure that you are dressed warmly. Take care, be safe. Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.